Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I wanted to discuss the relationship between the characters Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler in the TV show Better Call Saul. With that being said, warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to the season 3 finale, and let's jump right into this. So ever since the first season, Kim has been the main supporting female role in the show. She's been through a lot with Jimmy and they've stuck beside each other through it all. Although it is true that Jimmy has a certain layer of toxicity to her career and overall success, Jimmy still means well and Kim still cares for him unconditionally. I've discussed Kim's inability to really control her need to care for and support Jimmy, as it was majorly focused on during the episode 303 Sunk Costs.
Kim. Come on, Jimmy. You need me. You can't argue this yourself. You and I both know that, and I'm not going to let you fight this on your own.
Why would you? Come on. This guy? Seriously?
Let's just call it the fallacy of sunk costs.
So why does Kim like Jimmy? They have a lot of differences between the ways that they like to handle certain situations, but they really seem to complement each other well as characters. She enjoys how straightforward he is, opposed to other lawyers. He constantly pushes her and challenges her as far as her career goes, considering that he's always the one to call out HHM and other people on their BS. Jimmy has a lot of likable qualities, but how long will they last? Now, just like Chuck, Kim isn't in Breaking Bad at all, and she is in fact an original character to Better Call Saul. With that limitation in mind, the show creators have been building up her character with the knowledge that she'll have to somehow get written off the show to explain why she's never seen with Saul during Breaking Bad. Now, although a ton of fans have speculated that Saul could just be keeping her at home in secrecy, just never mentioning her during Breaking Bad whatsoever due to wanting to keep her safe, but the more logical explanation is that she's cut connections with Jimmy in one way or another. In a recent interview with Gold Derby, Bob Odenkirk mentioned how losing Kim in his life will be a major role in transforming Jimmy into Saul, as it will cause Jimmy to never have aspirations for a relationship like that again.
Jimmy is not there yet. I mean, he still cares about Kim, played by Ray Seahorn. He actually still cares about his brother at this point. And when that shit's gone, when he has cut himself off from every other person he loves and no longer desires to be a part of a relationship, really, that's when he'll be Saul. I mean, Saul is really on his own, I think.
Now, in my last Better Call Saul video, I really broke down the evolution of Jimmy McGill, so if you haven't checked out that discussion yet, I definitely recommend it. It'll be featured as one of the end cards during the outro to this video. So we won't be able to fully see Saul Goodman until he cuts all connections from the people that he loves and no longer desires to be a part of a relationship. That obviously implies that something bad will go on between Jimmy and Kim, causing them to cut that connection, along with most likely devastating Jimmy, as he will have no desire to have a future relationship whatsoever.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, you see Saul in the third season. He just doesn't have the clothing yet. But outside of the clothing in the office, the journey is nearly complete. There's still more story to tell once he gets to that point, but it's nearly complete. As long as he's still connected to Kim, he's not going to be Saul completely, but he's getting there, and now quickly.
So let's just back up for a moment and think about the introduction of Season 4 as a whole, along with where these characters left off at during the end of Season 3. I assume that we'll have some sort of funeral scene for Chuck during the beginning of Season 4, where we may get some crucial conversations. Not only might we see the return of Rebecca, but I feel like Howard will end up casually spilling the beans to Kim and Jimmy about Chuck's malpractice insurance being the final straw. I can definitely see Howard explaining his falling out with Chuck to either Kim, Jimmy, or the both of them, eventually leading Jimmy to realize that he was a part of the final straw to end Chuck's career. Now, although Chuck would have most likely ruined his career whether or not Jimmy added in that extra nudge, the fact that Jimmy was involved at all will just serve as a focus of his guilt. If this is the case, will Jimmy eventually confess to Kim about all of this? I feel like if this happens, it won't be revealed immediately, but it will instead be bottled up for at least a few episodes, or at least one full episode, while they meanwhile face other complications. Now, in previous videos, I've discussed how Kim feels bad for everything that's happened with Chuck during season 3, but that's really something important that they tried building up in the background. It gets briefly mentioned a few times, like with Paige from Mesa Verde, or when Kim was at the bar with Jimmy. My point is that I could see this malpractice confession with Jimmy being the final straw for Kim herself. This would cause Jimmy's actions at the malpractice office back in 307 to be both the cause of Chuck's final straw with Howard, along with being Kim's final straw with Jimmy. Will she make him feel worse about this as well? During Talking Saul for the season 3 finale, Vince Gilligan speaks about the future of Kim and the possibility of her not being around for forever.
I think if Jimmy lost Kim, it would destroy him. A similar thought dawns on Peter and I and the writers. When you watch Breaking Bad, you know there's no Kim Wexler to be seen. So we're heading for something that it's going to be a rough moment if and when we get to the point where we explain why Kim Wexler's no longer around. It's not going to be a pleasant day necessarily, but it's going to be dramatic as hell. It's going to keep people talking and watching.
So what will happen to her that causes her to not be in Breaking Bad? This is the obvious question, but will the next season be dedicated to Kim leaving Jimmy? Season 3 has felt like it's concluded most of Chuck's story, and now we'll focus on Kim next season. Kim and Chuck are the two people Jimmy tried to impress over the past decade of his life, and it'll really hit him hard to lose both of them in one way or another, especially if both are within such a short time span. Now, unlike Chuck, I believe it's possible for Jimmy to not lose Kim entirely. Although he may cut ties with her in one way due to him transforming into the Saul Goodman we know and love from Breaking Bad, it's still definitely possible for them to meet up sometime again in the future. There are constant fan theories suggesting that Kim may appear in a future flash-forward scene with Gene, and even Kim's actor Rhea Seehorn keeps poking fun at this idea in interviews, but only time will tell. I would love for things to come full circle with these characters in some way involving Gene's timeline, because I really don't want the relationship to permanently end off on a bad note. I would personally love to see Gene reconnect with Kim, just to see Kim shocked by how different of a person he is. Maybe she will be the sunlight that brings back the old Jimmy? Now, a big part of what Gene's storyline has to do with is the person that he's become since Breaking Bad, but is there also a possibility of him evolving into yet another persona? Gene has been depressed, alone, and antisocial ever since the events of Breaking Bad, but reconnecting with Kim could be just the spark that he needs, as it would give him someone to talk to and catch up with and vent to. I'll be breaking this down more in depth in one of my future Better Call Saul discussions, but how do you guys feel about all the speculation behind Gene's timeline? Anyways, in the future, Kim wants to reevaluate how she controls her life, along with how she takes initiative. Kim was always up for a challenge, even so much so that she worked herself into the ground by the season 3 finale. Kim has learned the hard lesson here that there's such a thing as working too hard. During the season 3 finale, there's a moment at her home with Francesca where she reevaluates her current life choices as she contemplates on what everything is worth to her.
Found it. Here you go. And Paige's timeline's on the top. Kim? You okay? I can always come back.
I'm gonna need you to cancel Gatwood and push everything else.
What? Everything?
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
She could just continue on with Gatwood and all the other Mesa Verde work that she's been drowning in, but is it really worth overworking herself to the point that she could just fall asleep at the wheel and kill someone? The idea of hurting someone else really sticks with Kim, which is also why she probably feels so bad about beating down Chuck in court, even though she was just helping out Jimmy. Anyways, bottom line, Kim is just a good person trying to make things right, but she's really got to learn to control her own work ethic along with creating better choices for herself in the future. What do you guys think about the future of Kim in Better Call Saul? Leave any thoughts or predictions down in the comments section below. I apologize for this long of a gap between Better Call Saul videos. It was completely unintentional and I've just been a bit busy with all the other Walking Dead content lately. I still have quite a few video topics lined up in the future while we wait for season 4, and I'll be sure to break down and discuss any future updates on the current status of the show when we get any. I'd also love to go back and do classic reviews for the first few seasons of Better Call Saul, or even Breaking Bad as well, looking at all the episodes individually, but let me know what you guys think. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad content in the near future. If you'd like to take that extra step in helping support my videos, check out my Patreon, where there's a bunch of different rewards involving the channel, such as the chance to directly influence the videos being produced. It isn't necessary by any means, but some of these videos do take a long time to make, so it could really help in the long run. But as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.